Hello, everyone. So I'm here today with David, who's a career guidance counselor who specializes in sixth year guidance.
Thank you, Martina. I'm Rebecca Daly, who's a medical doctor and founder of 65 Points. Thanks for having me today.
Great. Well, we're coming up to the end of the Leaving Cert. I think most people are done. There's a couple of exams left. So I wanted to talk about some of the things relevant to fifth years and sixth years or outgoing sixth years. So today we're going to talk about here and there schemes and decisions. We're going to talk about the HPAT, going to talk about CEO change of mind, and we're going to talk about studying over the summer, whether it's necessary and for whom. So we'll start with there and here. David, do you know what date the eligibility decisions are released?
So according to accesscollege.ie, the outcomes for there and here are to be released on the 24th of April, which is coinciding with the end of the Leaving Certificate this year.
Okay. And is there any mechanism to appeal?
Yes, if you find yourself ineligible or unsuccessful in either process, you can appeal. The on the accesscollege.ie information on how to appeal, you can read it there. You can read the instructions. The appeal process will open in the afternoon of July the 24th on the day that the outcomes are released, and the appeal process will remain open until the 2nd of July at 5 p.m. So it's a tight window that you need to get onto.
Perfect. And let's say someone is determined to be eligible, does that guarantee a reduced points offer?
No, eligibility means the student applicant may be considered, but it does not guarantee a reduced points offer. Applicants have to meet the course matriculation requirements. And then meeting those, they have to compete for their places with other DARE candidates, and the places are limited.
Okay. Great. We'll move on now in the realm of dates. The HPAT results are released quite soon, isn't that right?
The HPAT results are expected to be released again on the last day of the Leaving Cert with the last written paper, which again is June 24th. I believe they're released quite early in the morning, so that might be an early start for you.
Yeah, and it's great they're not worrying about the results as they're going into another Leaving Cert exam.
For the incoming fifth years, the class of 2025, 2026, um, how would you advise students to start their HPAT preparations? Any tips, Martina, for them?
So it really varies the kind of guidance that you get. Some students get through the HPAT, get in the, above 90th centile with surprisingly little preparation. It is called an aptitude test. A lot of people would tell you that, to be honest, it's more like an exam than an aptitude test, insofar as you can prepare for it. So the general consensus seems to be that September of sixth year is a decent time to start. But I would caveat that to some degree by saying that it depends on what else you have going on. Let's say you're applying to the UK, that's a whole layer of complication. It's like a whole other, it's like adding an eighth or ninth subject, right? So if you're doing that, consider starting earlier. We have a free downloadable study plan for the HPAT. I think it's an 18-week plan. Some people advise, let's say, in such a week, you would on a Monday do section one, and on a Tuesday you'd practice a section two. On Wednesday, do section three. On Thursday, go through the answers, make sure that you've learned something from your preparation because it's not much use doing practice questions or even looking at all of the advice unless you kind of internalize it. And then, you take a day off on Friday and Saturday and Sunday and don't worry about it. And if you do that for, something like 18 weeks, that should be relatively decent preparation. There's a lot of resources available online from multiple vendors. To some extent, they all have mixed feedback. So you should probably, if you're starting early, you should look at an FAQ on our website. It's very detailed. It's completely not sponsored by any external vendors. It's just people who I've spoken to over the years who did really well in their HPAT, they scored over 90th centile, and they give specific tips for different sections and for how to prepare. And you will find that some of the advice is not the same. So that is kind of a reflection on the fact that the HPAT is like a slightly unusual exam. It's an aptitude test.
Okay, so excellent advice and resources at 65 points. Thank you, Martina. Just on the, I suppose, work as well, or study for the next year's incoming sixth years, is it necessary for them to study over the summer break, do you think?
So, in my opinion, it depends. There's a couple of cohorts who should think about it, but the vast majority of people are probably okay. They should enjoy the summer and, make sure that they are really recuperated and ready to go by August, September. So, 6 year really varies depending on your circumstances and depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So, let's say you aren't going for a particularly high points course, and the last set of exams that you did, let's say your summer exams in fifth year, relatively match what you would get if you were translated into points. Then you probably shouldn't need to do anything. You could, for example, be in a situation where you have something uh, onerous going on in your life, and it could be something as simple as a grueling rowing or rugby schedule. It could be, your parents are going to be moving house soon, sometime in sixth year. It could be something a little bit more difficult, like, a sick family member, or you have a chronic condition, or there's something going on, right? Or you have to hold down a part-time job in sixth year, any of those sort of extra things. And among them, again, you have applying to the UK or anything unusual like that. By unusual, I mean deviating from the very kind of standard, straightforward CAO candidate. All of these guys should probably think about, if not studying, then doing some of the things that will be expected of them in sixth year. So, for example, you could even work on your CAO list, or whatever the relevant bit might be, or start HPAT preparation a little bit early, or start UCAT preparation a little bit early. So, if you have some kind of additional demand on your time, then it's probably worth starting a bit early. And again, you don't want to burn yourself out. And lastly, I guess for the more mainstream people who are just applying through the CAO and have a relatively straightforward set of circumstances, if you're doing a lot of catching up. So let's say you, in your last set of house exams, you didn't do so well, let's say, compared to what you're aiming for, you are 200 points behind or something. Let's say your course that, your dream course is 500 points, but you scored, I don't know, 320. It might be worth looking at some stuff. So, and this is a good time to really address a weakness, something that you find really hard. So, for example, you're not going to get very far in maths unless you get on top of your basic algebra. So it might be a good time to kind of sit down, um, maybe get some external help, just a couple of classes in your own time, when you're really going to be able to give it your all, because you have a lot less demands on your time in the summer, right? You can really focus on it and you can get past certain hurdles that will really unlock a lot of benefits for you. And in that same vein, if you get on top of algebra, things in chemistry, in physics, in applied maths, in possibly lots of other subjects that involve that kind of basic calculations and logic would become a lot easier. So it really depends, but generally speaking, you don't have to, but it could be beneficial for some groups of people.
Yeah, and certainly those that have a busy schedule coming up in the new academic year. So, and I often find maybe the summer is a nice time to learn a language as well and to use the
Absolutely.
various apps and language camps that are out there. Um, I I suppose for fifth years as well, it's I would say it's an opportunity for them to maybe consider work experiences in possible careers they're considering and to try and seek those out and reflect and see how they get on with them. And so they're making more informed CEO choices in coming next February.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's really so many things that are relevant to sixth year. In a sense, in sixth year, you're expected to be at your maximum capacity, even if things are quite straightforward, right? But if there's anything you're trying to figure out, then that can be quite an onerous demand then. And even things like, if you sit down and read a book, that also has a positive impact on
Mhm.
your academic work because you're going to be that little bit better at writing essays, or potentially this could feed into your interview process in the UK. So lots of things to consider, or even going back to the HPAT, there's a section of it that places a lot of demands on your vocabulary. So there's lots of good things that you can be quite creative about it. It doesn't have to be you have to whip out the school bag and get the books out and do what you were doing throughout the year. There's quite a lot you can do, kind of depending on what your circumstances are and what you're planning to do.
Yeah, I agree with the extra reading. I think Careers Portal is a great opportunity for our incoming sixth years to maybe take a look at one course they might be interested in per week, read the modules, read through it, the outcomes, the um, other student experiences, perhaps follow it on Instagram, and maybe just rate it out of 10 and build up a few of those over the summer so that you're coming in September with a lot of your career research done and your college research done.
Yeah, it is actually quite a lot of work, isn't it? Researching courses.
It is a lot of work, and 6 years busy. It's a busy year.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a lot of expectations, yeah, placed on our t tender sixth years. But going back to the outgoing sixth years, the
Yeah,
CAO change of mind, is that coming to an end soon? Do they still have one last go at the CAO?
they still have time. It's closing on the 1st of July at 5 p.m. So there is still time to review your course ordering. Um, Looking at your dream courses, those top 3 or 4 courses that you aspire to, really looking in again at the middle group, the realistic courses that are aligning with grades in school, points achieved in school, and just ensuring that you have those very safe courses at the end, your backup, your safety net, and maybe just getting it done now. I know a lot of sixth years are probably heading away on holidays, and I think the opportunity to get it done over the next few days. Most are finished exams, and to just finalise it. I think now is the time to get that done and out of the way.
That's great advice. Thanks, David. I think we've covered most of the things we were aspiring to today.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just to come back and see, it is very important to have your level 8, but also your level 6 and 7 courses that they get time and consideration and ordering as well, and a bit of research. And not to forget about all the wonderful opportunities outside of the CEO system where you could be researching and applying for a PLC. It's €50 to register on being successful. Um, Also, you have the National Tertiary Degree Office, the tertiary degrees which are without points. Certainly take a look at those. And Springboard have wonderful opportunities at the moment too. So it's definitely worth looking at Springboard, looking at their website. So no harm to take a look outside of the CEO system too over the next few days as you finish up their exams and before you head off.
And those deadlines tend to be a bit more generous, don't they?
They
The
are. Yeah,
ones.
they are. Yeah, so
Oh,
the deadline, the big one is the 1st of July, 5 p.m. And that's the thing you need to focus and get that right now is the CEO, your CEO courses.
yeah. And just to maybe remind people to take some of the pressure off is that your undergraduate degree or the course that you're going to do straight after the Leaving Cert is probably going to be one of many for many people.
Yes.
And that in this day and age, careers tend to be so layered. People add
Yeah.
in little bits of, higher diplomas, masters, certificates, all of these things keep going. You could be doing them well into your 30s, into your 40s
Absolutely.
as little sprinklings here and there. So um you just need to choose something that you've researched well, that you genuinely want to do and are interested in, and that you see yourself doing in the future. So it can feel like such an all or
Mhm.
nothing moment, but I really don't think that it is.
It's not, and it opens up so many wonderful opportunities, as you mentioned, for postgraduate courses. Micro credentials are huge right now, where you can both, take modules and courses and upskill. And the generation it is about lifelong learning, and students today will go on to have multiple careers rather than following the one linear career like previous generations. So it's exciting. It's an exciting stepping stone into what your career will be and all of those changes that you will experience in your working life.
That's great advice. David, thank you so much. And
Okay, Martina, thank you.
we will be back at some point to discuss more in this vein. So thank you, everyone.